Hey guys, welcome to Tiny House Customs. I'm Dan, and in today's video, I'm going to fix this small knife rack. My shower's ready. Alright guys, just to give you a real quick backstory on this project, my drain wasn't draining out of the bathtub. So I tried plunging the drain, that didn't work. You can't run a snake into this and then down this pipe because of this bell here. I didn't want to put any harsh chemicals down the drain because I don't like using that stuff in the pipes. It's not good for your septic system, it's not good altogether. So what I did was I came downstairs and I saw that there was a nut on top of this bell. I think it's called a bell. If it's not, that's what it's called. So I came down here, I put a wrench on top of this and I started cranking on it. When I did that, I ended up doing more damage. To make these cuts on this pipe, you could use a hacksaw, a sawzall, a jigsaw with a metal cutting blade, an angle grinder with a metal cutting disc on it. Now when you're using a reciprocating saw like a sawzall or a jigsaw, there's different settings on the side of your jigsaw which make the blade move in a oval-like pattern while it's going up and down. And that's for using it when you're cutting wood. When you're cutting metal, you just want it to go straight back and forth. It'll reduce the vibration and it'll cut smoother. Well, that shit ain't working very well now, is it? I'm going to use a grinder because the sawzall, I didn't have a long enough blade. The grinder will cut through that quicker than anything else. Alright, I'm just going to take this piece with me to the store to make sure that I get all the right size fittings. And make sure I get enough pipe. One thing I've noticed is that there's a slight sewer gas coming in. So when you cut a pipe like that, you should take a rag and stuck it in there while you run to the hardware store to fix this problem. I bought some primer and a all-purpose cement for the PVC pipes. So I bought a new trap. I bought 2 couplers for 1.5-inch pipe, which will fit onto the steel as well as the PVC. And then I just needed one of these elbows, but I wasn't sure if I was going to need an extra one. And they were only about $1 or so, so I bought an extra one of those just in case. 2 pieces of about 2-foot sections of PVC pipe. First thing I'm going to do is just clean this up, make sure there's no burrs or anything that'll cause my rubber gasket any problems. Take a flexible coupler and fit it onto my pipe, and I'll take my PVC pipe and stick that in to it right there. Now plumbing pipes should be pitched 2 degrees down from where they're coming from. So I place a straight edge on top of the pipe like this. So I made a mark on the pipe here where the bottom of this pipe is right here. So I'm going to take all my fittings that I need to put on there and I'm just going to roughly place them on here. Place this one right here, and this height right here is where I need to cut this pipe right here. So I need to figure out where that location is. I'm going to place my tape measure on the bottom of this pipe, place this right here, and I can see it is 2.5 inches to this point right here. That's how far the pipe will sit in. The mark that I made on this pipe right here represents the bottom of this pipe. So I know if I come down 2.5 inches on this pipe, I can cut it right there and I'll have that first piece. So I'm just going to mark 2.5 inches and I can cut my first piece of pipe. Now to cut all this pipe, I can use a hacksaw, any type of saw basically will cut this PVC pipe. I have a chop saw which I know is going to cut good. So I'm just going to place it in there. Make sure I'm holding it tight against the fence. You always want to start your blade before you come in contact with whatever you're cutting. You can see it puts a nice clean cut on it. I have no burrs. It's nice and smooth. I'm just going to knock anything off that might be on that pipe. When you're hooking a trap up, you can see that there's this comes more vertical right here, and this has a more gradual feed to it right here. This is going to be the flow of the water. There's nothing on this pipe that'll tell you that, but since you're watching my video, you now know that that's how that goes in. So this is the pipe that I just cut for here. We'll stick that in the down feed there. I'm going to place this in, making sure that my flow is in the correct direction. So I just need a piece of pipe that connects these 2 pipes together. This pipe goes inside 3/4 of an inch, so I need a pipe 1.5 inches. I'm going to cut it at 1 5/8 inches, so I'll have a small gap here, but I'll make sure that both pipes are completely seated into where they have to be. So I'm going to take my 1.5 inch piece, I'm going to stick it in the the bottom of the trap. And then I'll take my elbow and I'll place that in there. You can see here, if I go and put the pipe just like this, this pipe right here, this outfeed, is as far over as it possibly can be. Now if I take this pipe and I put it on there and I run it perfectly straight down that pipe, this is where it comes out. So I'm going to take this other elbow to put on like here, and I'll connect it just like that. Maybe not, maybe like that. Yeah, that's way better. Now if I take my extra piece of pipe, which I know is going to be coming right out of that pipe, and I can eyeball it and mark right where this side of the elbow is. If I mark that spot, I can then take this fitting that's going to go on there. I can figure the difference from this point right here to where this pipe needs to be. So I'm going to take my other coupler, I'll put it on this pipe right here. I'll place that piece that I just cut into the coupler. Make sure it's seated all the way in there. I'll take my additional elbow that I bought, place that in there, and you can see that those line up pretty good. Now I just have a small piece here. This isn't my final piece, but I just want to make sure that all my angles are correct. So I'm just going to place it in there and see how that fits together. Now I want to make sure that this pipe has a little bit of downward flow to it. So I'm just going to sight it down this pipe that's already there, and I'm just going to make sure that it's running at the correct pitch. Now that I've eyed everything up and made sure that everything's tight inside of here, this is where this all needs to be, and this pipe is running at the correct angle. I'm going to measure for my piece of pipe. Now I got my 3 3/4 inch pipe. I'm going to take this small scrap piece that I put in there out of there. I'll replace it with this pipe. All right, now that I have everything mocked up where it needs to be, I'm going to take a black Sharpie and I'm going to mark all the locations where a joint matches another joint so that I know that's where they fit together. You can see that line just comes straight through here, here, and here and here. Those are the only places that I'm concerned that line up perfectly. So here's all my fittings that I need to glue up. First thing I need to do is make sure that all the pipes are clean. So I'm going to use a primer. Now this purple primer is going to stain the pipe. So when I put it on, I don't want to be slopping it all over the place, damaging the pipe. So I'll do a little purple primer on it. Then I'll take the cement, go around twice on each pipe. And then I'll fit them back together, making sure that I line my line up together. So you're just going to hold it together for about 15 seconds and then it'll be solid. Then I'll just do my next joint. Twist a little bit when you put it in together and hold it. So this last fitting that I have here, since it's so small, I'm going to have to do it in just one shot. I'm going to put both of them together at the same time. I'm going to make sure this piece is completely primed all over because there's only going to be a small gap on it. Prime the inside of this pipe as well as this pipe. I'm going to take my glue, glue the inside of this one. Now this stuff hardens really quick, so you want to be real quick with it. So I'm going to take my vertical pipe that comes down from the drain. Now there's no marks on this, so the location doesn't matter. I'm going to prime here and prime the inside of this pipe as well. Cement here, cement that one, and I'll fit them together with a small twist. Look at that. You're a bona fide plumber, boy. Now that I've read the instructions, when you apply this, you want it to still be wet when you apply the cement. So you can see here I was a little sloppy with the purple primer, and so now that'll be visible forever and it'll drive me nuts every time I see it. But all my pipe fittings are secure. I can now take the clamps and install them on the pipe. Since I'm going to take this fitting and I'm going to place it over the pipe completely and then slide it up after, I want to make sure that it's half and half. So to make sure that I have it exactly half and half, I'm going to hold it on the pipe, and I'll put a reference mark on the side of the pipe so that when I slide this up, I'll know where to stop, so I'm half and half on that pipe. Before I put this rubber gasket on, I want to make sure it's clean, free of any type of debris that'll cause a leak later. And I'll slip this end on here. Rubber gaskets have a hose clamp on them, which takes a 1/4 inch driver on it. I'm just going to tighten these down. Before I tighten it down all the way, I'm going to just make sure it's seated all the way up against the other pipe, and then I'll tighten it down all the way. I wouldn't recommend using these fittings inside of somewhere where it will be closed up and you have no access to. If I'm going to have a failure in this pipe, it's going to be at either of these fittings right here. I personally have never used these things, so I don't know how well they are. I have seen them used in commercial properties before. Everything's tightened down and secured. Now I just got to give it a test. So what I got leaking here is at the drain of the pipe. None of my fittings are leaking. Completely dry. Everything's good on this end, on this fix. That, well, there you go. There's part 2, I guess. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. Something that I learned was this fitting, the direction of flow in it. I didn't realize that there was a different angle on the pipe. And I believe I did that correctly. I talked to a licensed plumber and he said that's how it goes. I looked at Google pictures and I saw some pictures that went the other way. But that could have been your do-it-yourselfer messing up a little bit. Some takeaways definitely is remember when you're applying that purple primer to not go crazy with it because it'll stay in your pipes. If you're new to my channel and you like what you saw, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks guys. Now I'm going to cut. I'm not wearing my fucking hat. Move with a circular patch, which make the as usual. When you about an audio update mid-film, what do you think? Cross these out so we don't make a mistake. Like that. Or like my mother always said, like me. Mic's on, camera's recording. I know that's going to be hard to take off. Now this purple primer. Thanks for watching guys.